Okay, so, that moment of anticipation, that little bit of holding your breath that happens every single month when the new Visa Bulletin drops?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that critical update that can, well, quite literally shift the timeline for people hoping to make the U.S. their permanent home. That's the energy we're tapping into today.
Absolutely. For anyone navigating the often complex labyrinth of the U.S. immigrant visa process, the Visa Bulletin isn't just a list of dates.
No, it's more like a roadmap.
Exactly. It's a roadmap. And its monthly update is keenly watched by hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions worldwide.
And our mission in this deep dive is to take the just released July 2025 Visa Bulletin and put it right alongside the June 2025 Bulletin. We're not just reading dates off a page.
No, we're comparing them.
Yeah, figuring out exactly what shifted, what stayed stubbornly put, and crucially, what that actually means for you, the applicant.
And our source material, as always, is the official word, the June and July 2025 Visa Bulletins themselves, published by the U.S. Department of State Bureau of Consular Affairs. We're going to try and extract the most important nuggets from this data.
Okay, before we dive deep into the specifics, let's quickly lay the groundwork. A few key concepts. The bulletin gives us two main charts to watch. First, the final action dates.
Right.
Think of this as the green light. Your priority date needs to be earlier than this date for the visa to actually be issued.
That's the finish line, date-wise. And then there are the dates for filing applications. This is more like a yellow light, maybe?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
If your priority date is earlier than this date, you might be able to submit your documentation, like an adjustment of status application if you're here in the U.S., to the National Visa Center or USCIS.
And this is really important. If you're applying for adjustment of status from within the U.S., you must check the USCIS website each month. Seriously.
Every month.
They're the ones who tell you which chart, final action, or dates for filing you can actually use to submit your I-485 that month. It can change.
It really can. And in the charts, you'll often see C or U. C stands for current.
Which is great news.
Yeah, basically means numbers are authorized for anyone in that category. Doesn't matter what their priority date is. U means unavailable.
Right. No visa numbers currently authorized for issuance in that category. Simple as that.
We also see specific countries called out separately. China mainland born, India, Mexico, and the Philippines.
These are what the bulletin calls oversubscribed.
Yeah, and that's because U.S. immigration law has, annual limits for the total number of visas, but also per country limits.
So if demand from one country is super high.
Exactly. If demand from, say, India or China is higher than its per country limit allows in a category, the dates for applicants from those countries can lag way behind the all chargeability areas category, sometimes by years.
Okay, got it. With that foundation, let's unpack the family-sponsored preferences first. These cover relatives of U.S. citizens and permanent residents.
Let's start with the final action dates chart, the one that tells us when visas can actually be issued.
Right. Comparing the July final action dates to June, what did we see in family-sponsored?
Well, comparing July to June, we definitely saw some welcome movement in several categories. Some pretty good news.
Okay, like F1, that's unmarried sons and daughters of U.S. citizens.
Yeah, for F1, the date for most countries, that's the all chargeability areas. Except those listed categories saw a nice advance. It moved from June 8, 2016 in the June Bulletin forward to July 15, 2016 for July. So a little over a month's progress there.
That's not bad.
And that same positive movement, June 8, 2016 to July 15, 2016, also applied to F1 applicants from China mainland born in India.
Oh, interesting. So consistent advancement across those areas for F1.
But not everywhere. F1 applicants from Mexico saw their date hold completely steady. It stayed at April 22, 2005 in both the June and July bulletins.
No movement for Mexico F1 and Philippines.
Philippines F1 also stayed put at July 15, 2012. No change there either.
Okay. Now, what about F2A spouses and children of permanent residents? I heard there was some bigger news there.
Yes, F2A, this category saw arguably the most significant leap this month for many. Huge jump.
Really?
Yeah. For all chargeability areas, except those listed, China mainland born, India, and Philippines, the final action date surged forward. It went from January 4th, 2022 in June, all the way to September 1, 2022 for July.
Wow, wait. January 22 to September 22? That's an 8-month jump in F2A for most countries.
Yeah, 8 months. That's huge.
Yeah, for someone with a priority date like, say, March 2022. That's massive. They just became eligible for their visa number this month.
It's a very impactful jump. The bulletin also clarifies a little nuance here for F2A. It notes that F2A numbers exempt from the per-country limit in July are for priority dates earlier than February 1st, 2022.
Okay, exempt before Feb 1, 2022.
And numbers subject to the per-country limit are for dates between February 1st, 2022, and that new date, September 1st, 2022. And that's specifically for countries except Mexico.
Oh, okay. It helps manage the flow with the limited numbers. What about Mexico F2A?
Mexico F2A also saw movement. It advanced from May 15, 2021 in June up to February 1st, 2022 in July.
So, good movement there too.
Yes, and it's important to remember the bulletin text points out all F2A numbers for Mexico are exempt from the per-country limit. That's a specific rule for them.
Got it. Okay, moving to F2B, unmarried sons and daughters, the ones 21 or older of permanent residence. Any advancements there?
Yes, we saw advancements here too. All chargeability areas, except those listed, China mainland-born and India move forward together from September 22, 2016 forward to October 15, 2016. A smaller step than F2A, obviously, but still forward progress. About 3 weeks.
Still moving. How about Mexico and Philippines F2B?
Mexico F2B advanced by a full year, jumped from January 1st, 2006 to January 1st, 2007.
Wow, a whole year for Mexico F2B.
Nice. And Philippines F2B also saw a good step forward, moving from February 8th, 2012 to April 15th, 2012. More than 2 months there.
Okay. How about F3? Married sons and daughters of U.S. citizens.
F3, all chargeability areas except those listed, China mainland born and India. They all advanced from June 22, 2011 to August 1st, 2011.
A little over a month's progress there. Mexico F3.
Mexico F3 advanced significantly from January 15, 2001 to February 1st, 2001. About 2 weeks, but crossing into a new month.
Okay. And Philippines F3.
Philippines F3 moved forward from September 22, 2003 to December 1st, 2003. Over 2 months jump.
All right. Lastly, for final action, family-sponsored F4 brothers and sisters of adult U.S. citizens. What happened there?
F4 was a bit more static. All chargeability areas except those listed in Mexico remained exactly the same. January 1st, 2008 for all areas and March 15, 2001 for Mexico. No change this month.
Okay. F4 waiting continues for them. China, India, Philippines.
China F4 advanced slightly from June 15, 2006 to July 8, 2006. India F4 held steady at July 15, 2006. No change. Philippines F4 moved forward from June 1st, 2005 to January 1st, 2006. Nice 7-month jump there.
Okay, so summarizing family-sponsored final action dates for July compared to June, the overall picture is mostly advancements, right?
Yeah, mostly advancements across categories. Some really notable leaps like that F2A 8-month jump for most countries.
Right, but also some specific areas staying put, like Mexico F1, Philippines F1, India F4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A mix, but generally positive movement. Now, should we shift gears to the dates for filing chart for family-sponsored?
Let's do it. This is the one USCIS might let you use to submit documents, always with that caveat. Check their website.
Always check USCIS. So for F1 filing dates, all chargeability areas except those lifted, China mainland born and India. They all remain static at September 1st, 2017.
Okay, no change there. Mexico F1.
Mexico F1 filing date advanced from April 1st, 2006 to June 1st, 2006. 2 months forward.
Good. Philippines F1 filing.
Stayed static at April 22, 2015.
All right, F2A filing dates.
F2A filing dates saw a universal advancement. This was consistent across all chargeability areas.
Oh, interesting. Everyone moved.
Everyone, all areas, China mainland born, India, Mexico, and Philippines, saw the date move forward exactly 1 month, from February 1st, 2025 to March 1st, 2025.
Okay, solid month forward for everyone in F2A filing eligibility. What about F2B filing dates?
F2B filing dates stayed completely static. No movement anywhere. January 1st, 2017, for all chargeability areas, except those listed, China mainland born, in India.
And Mexico and Philippines F2B filing.
Also static. April 1st, 2008 for Mexico and October 1st, 2013 for Philippines. No change in document filing eligibility there at all.
Okay. F3 filing dates.
F3 filing dates also held steady across the board. July 22, 2012 for all chargeability areas except those listed, China mainland born, and India. June 15, 2001 for Mexico, December 4, 2004 for Philippines. All static.
A lot of static dates in the filing chart. F4 filing dates. Any movement?
F4 filing dates had some mixed movement, kind of like the final action dates. All chargeability areas except those listed advanced from June 1st, 2008 to September 8, 2008, over 3 months forward.
Okay, progress there. But the others?
China F4 and India F4 stayed static at December 6, 2006. Mexico F4 also stayed static at April 30, 2001. And Philippines F4 stayed static at January 1st, 2008.
So only the all areas F4 filing date moved.
Correct. And again, the big reminder, check the USCIS website. Confirm if they are even using this dates for filing chart for adjustment of status applications this month. Just because the date advances doesn't mean you can file based on it unless USCIS says so.
Absolutely critical point. Okay, let's shift gears. Employment-based preferences. This covers workers, professionals, investors, the EB categories. Final action dates first, comparing July to June.
All right, for EB1, priority workers, it stayed current C for the majority of countries. That's all chargeability areas, except those listed, Mexico and Philippines. It stayed current in both June and July.
Good news for them. Immediate visa number eligibility if they qualify. China and India, EB1.
China mainland-born EB1 did see a slight advance, just a week. Moved from November 8th, 2022 to November 15th, 2022.
Okay, tiny step. India EB1.
Remained static at February 15th, 2022. No change for India EB1.
All right, EB2. That's the advanced degree or exceptional ability category. What happened there?
EB2 saw absolutely no movement, zero, across any listed area. The dates remain completely static between June and July.
Wow, completely frozen. What are those dates again?
October 15, 2023 for all chargeability areas except those listed, Mexico and Philippines. December 1st, 2020 for China mainland-born, and January 1st, 2013 for India. All unchanged.
Oof. Static EB2 dates across the board. That really highlights the backlog, especially for China and India. No movement this month means the wait just continues.
Yeah, it's a major bottleneck category, and July didn't bring any relief on the final action side.
Okay, moving to EB3, skilled workers and professionals. Any better news?
Some targeted advancement here, yes. All chargeability areas, except those listed and Mexico, both moved forward from February 8, 2023 to April 1st, 2023. Almost 2 months.
That's decent. China EB3.
China mainland-born EB3 advanced slightly from November 22, 2020 to December 1st, 2020. About a week and a half.
Okay. India and Philippines EB3.
India EB3 remained static at April 22, 2013. Philippines EB3 also remained static, stuck at February 8, 2023.
So progress for some EB3, but not India or Philippines. What about the EB3 other workers category?
EB3 other workers saw some small advancements. All chargeability areas, except those listed, Mexico and Philippines, all advanced about 2 weeks, from June 22, 2021 to July 8, 2021.
Okay. China and India, other workers.
China, mainland-born other workers moved forward 1 month, from April 1st, 2017 to May 1st, 2017. India other workers stayed static at April 22, 2013.
Now, there's usually a note about EB3 other workers limitations, right?
Yes, and it's worth highlighting. The annual limit for this category is already low, globally, just 10,000. But the bulletin mentions that the NACRO law's impact reduces the effective annual limit down to only 5,000.
Cut in half.
And it gets worse. For fiscal year 2025, the bulletin notes this limit is further reduced to approximately 150. Just 150 visas for the entire year worldwide.
150? Wow, okay, that explains why the movement is so incredibly slow or non-existent sometimes. They're working with almost no numbers.
Exactly. It puts those small advancements into perspective. They're happening under incredibly severe numerical constraints.
Right. Now, EB4, certain special immigrants, and the certain religious worker subcategory.
These remained unavailable across all chargeability areas in both June and July, just like previous months.
Still unavailable. So visa numbers are simply not authorized for issuance for EB4 and religious workers right now. That's been the case for a while.
A very persistent situation, unfortunately.
Okay, EB5, investors. Let's start with the unreserved category, the standard one.
For EB5 unreserved, all chargeability areas, except those listed, Mexico and Philippines, remained current. See, good news there.
Still current for most. China and India unreserved.
China mainland-born EB5 unreserved remained static at January 2010-2014. India, EB5 unreserved, remained static at May 1st, 2019. Long waits there continue.
Got it. What about the newer EB5 set-aside categories? Rural, high unemployment, infrastructure.
Good news across the board there. They all remained current, see, for all chargeability areas in both the June and July bulletins.
Still current for all set-asides. That means immediate visa number availability if you invest in one of those targeted areas.
Correct. It shows those categories are working as intended, at least in terms of visa availability for now.
So, wrapping up employment-based final action dates, July brought some targeted advancements, like in EB1 China, EB3 for some, EB3 other workers for some.
Right, but many categories, critically including EB2 for all countries and EB3 for India and Philippines, remained completely static.
And EB4 and religious workers are still stuck at unavailable.
Yeah, definitely a mixed bag. Some progress, but significant backlogs remain firmly in place for many.
Okay, let's quickly run through the dates for filing chart for employment-based, the potential document submission dates. Check USCIS.
Got it. For EB1 filing dates, still current. C for most. All areas, Mexico, Philippines. China mainland-born EB1 filing stayed static at January 1st, 2023. India EB1 filing stayed static at April 15th, 2022.
EB2 filing dates. Any movement, unlike final action?
Nope. Completely static here too, mirroring the final action dates. November 15th, 2023 for all areas, Mexico, Philippines. January 1st, 2021 for China. February 1st, 2013 for India. No change.
Okay, EB2 stuck on both charts. EB3 filing dates.
Here we saw some movement. All chargeability areas except those listed, Mexico and Philippines, all advanced 2 months from March 1, 2023 to May 1st, 2023.
All right, progress there. China and India EB3 filing.
Both static. China stated December 22, 2020. India stated June 8, 2013.
EB3, other workers filing dates.
All static. July 22, 2021 for all areas, Mexico, Philippines. January 1st, 2018 for China. June 8, 2013 for India. No movement.
EB4 and religious workers filing.
Also static at February 1st, 2021 for all areas.
EB5, unreserved filing dates.
Current C for most. China stayed static at October 1st, 2016. India also stayed static at April 1st, 2022.
And the EB5 set-asides filing dates.
Just like final action, they also remained current, C, for all chargeability areas.
Okay, so employment-based dates for filing, advancements, mostly just an EB3 for some areas. Everything else pretty much stayed put, mirroring the lack of broad movement in final action.
Pretty much, yeah. And again, the reminder fatigue might be setting in, but check USCIS to see which chart they're actually using.
Can't say it enough. All right, finally, let's turn our attention to the diversity immigrant category.
The DV lottery.
Right, the annual program offering green cards to folks from countries with historically low immigration rates to the U.S.
How do we compare these? It's a bit different, right?
Yeah, the bulletin lists the DV cutoffs that will apply for the next month. So to see the change, we need to compare the cutoffs listed for JOI in the June bulletin with the cutoffs listed for August in the July bulletin. This applies specifically to the DV 2025 applicants. Got it. So I'm pairing the July numbers from the June bulletin to the August numbers from the July bulletin. What do we see for Africa?
Africa's regional cutoff advanced significantly. It went from 45,000 for July up to 50,000 for August.
A 5,000 jump. Nice. Any specific countries in Africa?
Yes, we saw advancements for Egypt from 40,000 up to 43,250. Morocco moved from 34,500 to 40,500, and Algeria advanced from 44,950 to 49,950.
Okay. What about Asia?
Asia's regional cutoff moved forward from 9,000 to 11,000.
A 2,000 jump. Iran and Nepal, they often have separate limits.
They do, and they both advanced together from 8,950 up to 10,650.
Good progress. Europe.
Europe's regional cutoff also saw a good jump, moving from 19,000 to 22,000.
3,000 increase. Any countries within Europe?
Yes. Russia's cutoff advanced from 18,950 to 21,950, and Uzbekistan advanced from 12,000 to 13,000.
Okay. North America, which is just the Bahamas, right?
Right. The North America Bahamas cutoff remained completely static at 20 in both charts. No change.
20. Okay. Oceania.
Oceania saw a small advancement from 1,650 to 1,700.
It's just 50 points. And finally, South America and the Caribbean.
Advanced from 2,450 to 2,600.
Okay, so overall, the DV 2025 cutoffs announced for August show continued forward movement across most regions. That's encouraging as the program year moves along.
It is, but, and this is crucial.
Ah, yes, the big deadline warning.
Exactly. It's incredibly important to remember the Bulletin's reminder. The DV 2025 program strictly ends on September 30, 2025. Full stop.
And visas cannot be issued after that date. Doesn't matter if your number becomes current on September 29th. If the visa isn't issued by the 30th, you're out of luck.
That's the hard deadline. Reaching your cutoff number is necessary, but not sufficient. It doesn't guarantee you'll get the visa if processing delays or demand means they run out of time or numbers before September 30th.
It really emphasizes the need for DV selectees to act super promptly once their number is current. Get those documents in, schedule that interview.
Absolutely. Time is of the essence in the DV program.
Okay, just a couple of other quick notes from the bulletins before we wrap up. Something about SIVs. Special immigrant visas for government employees.
Yeah, there's a brief mention. The bulletin notes that while the FY 2024 National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, might affect some SIV applicants, It specifically clarifies that it does not affect certain Iraqis and Afghans applying for the main SQ and SIV categories. Those are the common ones for interpreters and others who assisted the U.S. government.
So good clarification there for those specific groups. What should people do if they have questions?
The bulletin directs applicants with questions to contact the specific U.S. embassy or consular section that's handling their case.
Makes sense. Get info straight from the source processing your application. And speaking of sources,
always go to the official ones for the absolute latest operational info on visa processing beyond just these dates, and to confirm which chart USCIS is using for adjustment.
You need travel.state.gov for State Department consular processing updates.
In USCIS.gov Visa Bulletin info for the USCIS adjustment of status chart determination. Those are listed right in the bulletin.
Your go-to sites. Don't rely on rumors or old information.
Definitely not. Those are your authoritative sources for real-time status.
Okay, so zooming back out, comparing the June and July 2025 Visa Bulletins, it really paints a picture of, well, uneven progress, doesn't it?
It really does. We saw some genuinely impactful advancements, like that big 8-month jump in F2A final action dates for most countries. That's significant.
Yeah. But then alongside that, you have areas that remain completely static, like EB2 for all countries, just frozen, and EB4 is still unavailable.
Exactly. And these shifts, or the lack of shifts, they aren't random. They're a direct consequence of that complex interplay between the annual visa limits set by Congress, the per-country limits, and simply the actual demand from applicants in each specific category and country.
Which is why digging into this comparison is so vital for you, the listener. Knowing exactly where the dates moved or if they stayed put directly impacts your journey.
Right. It helps you gauge when your turn might reasonably come, when you might need to have documents ready, how to manage your expectations, and just plan your next steps.
It takes the sort of general idea of backlogs and makes it much more concrete for your specific situation. Is my category moving? Is it moving for my country?
It translates abstract government data into something tangible, potential progress, or unfortunately, continued waiting for real individuals and families.
So as you process these July numbers, maybe consider this. These seemingly small movements, a few weeks forward here, a static date there, maybe a significant leap like F2A. They aren't just data points on a chart.
No. Each change represents a real shift, potentially life-changing, in the journey of someone waiting.
Yeah.
Someone just like you, maybe.
Yeah. It's a powerful illustration, really, of how this intricate system of laws, limits, caps, and processing speeds translates into hope or frustration or prolonged uncertainty for people all around the globe just trying to navigate the process.
It's a very human story hidden within those bureaucratic numbers.
Well put. That wraps up this deep dive into the June and July 2025 Visa Bulletins. We really hope this breakdown helps you understand the latest update and what it might